Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're looking at what honestly might just be the most brilliant piece of architectural engineering in the known universe, the human heart. We constantly think of the heart in terms of romance or emotion, right? But biologically speaking, it is a tireless, ultra-efficient engine. We're going to unpack exactly how this organ is built, from its protective outer walls all the way down to the microscopic layers of its internal plumbing. It is absolutely fascinating.
So, to really understand the heart, we first have to understand the massive network it powers, the cardiovascular system. Think of your body as this sprawling, bustling metropolis. For that city to survive, it literally needs a highly efficient transport network to deliver oxygen and nutrients, and of course, haul away the waste. Well, the cardiovascular system is that exact transport network, and it's completely reliant on the heart acting as the central, unstoppable pump that keeps the traffic flowing through miles and miles of blood vessels.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll be covering the foundation, the three walls, inside the rooms, the one-way doors, and finally the transport aisleways.
Starting off with Section 1, the foundation, specs, location, and development.
Your heart is basically a muscular, cone-shaped organ. It sits super comfortably in this perfectly designed space called the mediastinum, nestled right between your lungs, tucked behind the flat bone of your sternum, and protected in the back by your vertebrae. But what's truly mind-blowing here is just how lightweight this powerful engine actually is. Despite the immense, crazy workload it handles, an average adult male heart weighs only about 300 grams, and an average adult female heart sits right around 250 grams. Seriously, it weighs less than a standard can of soup. Yet it generates enough force to pump blood through your entire body, non-stop for decades. No rest days.
And its physical dimensions are equally compact. If we break it down, the average heart measures roughly 12 centimeters in length, about 6 centimeters in width, and has a thickness of just 3 centimeters. That's roughly the size of your two hands clasped together, packed into a phenomenally tight, space-saving footprint. It's like nature managed to pack a lifetime of sheer pumping power into incredibly efficient spatial engineering. But honestly, perhaps the most incredible spec about this foundation is how early this engine comes online. In a developing fetus, the heart begins its construction at just 4 weeks. 4 weeks! By the time the fetus reaches merely 8 weeks of development, the heart is fully formed and beating completely on its own. Before almost any other major system is even finished, the central pump is already up and running. It really proves just how incredibly vital this organ is to our very existence, right? Moving on to Section 2, the three protective walls, going from the outside in. Because the heart works so hard, constantly expanding and contracting, it needs some serious protection. It's wrapped securely in 3 specialized layers. From the outside in, we've got the pericardium, which is the outer protective layer, the myocardium, the middle muscular layer, and the endocardium, the inner smooth layer. Let's peel these back real quick. So the outermost protective wall, the pericardium, is a marvel of biological design, with its own sublayers. The outer part is the fibrous pericardium, made of this elastic connective tissue that actually allows the heart to stretch safely. Inside that is the serous pericardium, which is a double-layered membrane. And right between these two delicate serous layers is a tiny space filled with serous fluid. This fluid acts exactly like a liquid shock absorber. It cushions the heart and prevents any gnarly friction with the surrounding organs. Right beneath that protective sec, we hit the myocardium. This is the absolute powerhouse of the heart. It's the thick middle layer entirely composed of cardiac muscle tissue. Imagine if you had to consciously think about beating your heart every single second of your life. That would be exhausting. Thankfully, this muscle is completely involuntary. Triggered by the heart's own internal electrical spark, it just tirelessly does the heavy lifting on its own, day and night,
using these incredibly flexible, striated muscle fibers. Finally, the innermost layer is the endocardium. This layer is constructed of squamous epithelium tissue. Now, in plain English, that just means it's made of tightly packed, flat, microscopic tiles. Why does that matter to us? Well, these tiles create a surface that is phenomenally smooth. As the heart furiously pumps and squeezes, this drastically reduces internal friction, stopping the chamber walls from chafing and, crucially, preventing blood clots from forming inside the beating heart. Pretty smart design.
Let's move into section 3, inside the rooms, the 4 chambers.
Now, before we look at the rooms themselves, we actually have to look at the barrier between them, the cardiac septum. The septum is a thick, muscular dividing wall that splits the heart perfectly down the middle into a left side and a right side. The right side deals exclusively with oxygen-poor blood, and the left side deals with oxygen-rich blood. This absolutely crucial wall ensures these two completely different types of blood never ever mix. Okay, let's walk through the 4 actual rooms of our house. The top 2 are the atria. Think of them as the receiving rooms. The bottom 2 are the ventricles. Those are your shipping rooms. Starting on the right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the body via a massive vein called the vena cava. It drops that blood down into the right ventricle, which powerfully ships it out to the lungs to grab a fresh load of oxygen. Then, crossing over to the left side, that freshly oxygenated blood returns to the left atrium. Finally, it drops down into the massive supramuscular left ventricle, which forcefully pumps it out through the aorta to the entire body. It's an incredibly synchronized dance. Up next is section 4, valves, the one-way doors. With all this blood rushing through the chambers at high speeds, the heart really needs a way to keep everything moving in the right direction. To understand valves, you really just have to remember this single rule. Valves are designed for one ultimate purpose: preventing the backflow of blood. Inside the heart, blood is a strictly one-way street. These valves act as heavy-duty security guards, swinging wide open to let blood pass forward and then instantly snapping tightly shut so not a single drop can flow backward. So there are 4 of these specialized one-way doors in total. On the right side, separating the atrium and ventricle, we have the tricuspid valve. On the left side, between its atrium and ventricle, is the bicuspid or mitral valve. Then, guarding the ultimate exits out of the heart, we've got the pulmonary valve leading to the lungs and the aortic valve securing that massive aorta leading out to the body. As these specialized doors snap shut in perfect synchronization, they actually create that classic rhythmic lub-dub heartbeat sound we're all so familiar with.
And that brings us to section 5, blood vessels, the transport highways.
The 2 main highways you absolutely need to know are arteries and veins, and the core difference here is direction. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Because they're heading out to feed the rest of the body, they almost always carry oxygenated blood. Veins, on the other hand, carry blood back toward the heart. Having already delivered all their nutrients to your tissues, veins are mostly carrying deoxygenated blood back to base for a refill.
But wait, here is the massive biological plot twist. The big exceptions. Remember how I just said arteries almost always carry oxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated? Well, the pulmonary pipes completely reverse this rule. The pulmonary artery actually carries oxygen-poor blood away from the heart to the lungs. And the pulmonary vein carries oxygen-rich blood from the lungs back to the heart. It's the one place in the entire body where the standard rules of red and blue completely flip. Always a favorite trick question on biology exams, by the way.
And just like the heart itself, these massive highway pipes are heavily reinforced. Arteries and veins aren't just flimsy single tubes. Their walls are constructed in 3 highly specialized layers. The outer layer is the tunica adventitia,
The muscular middle layer is the tunica media, and the smooth inner layer lining the inside, the lumen, is the tunica intima. Why does this matter? Well, when your heart is pumping furiously during, say, a heavy workout, these three reinforced layers are exactly what give your blood vessels the flexibility and high-pressure endurance to stretch safely without bursting. It's incredibly robust engineering.
Think about this. The human heart starts beating when you are just 4 weeks in the womb. It continues to pump, pushing blood through miles of pressurized highways, all triggered by its own microscopic electrical grid without a single moment's rest. It generates millions upon millions of tireless beats over a lifetime. Knowing the absolutely unbelievable engineering going on inside your chest every single second, how will you protect your ultimate biological engine today? I really hope you've learned something fascinating in this explainer. Take care of that heart, and we'll see you on the next one.